Look at that behind me. So we got a couple of serious liberal scandals this week in Canadian politics. And it's tough to keep track of all these scandals, people. And I mean tough. There's a shit ton. Uh, this week we got Harjeet Sajjan, or whatever his name is. This guy here climbed from the rank of private and as a military policeman to general to the guy running the damn show for the Ministry of Defense. He was caught this week charging money for a group of Sikhs that are not even Canadian citizens when the withdrawal of Afghanistan happened to use our JTF 2 Special Forces unit in the Canadian military to eject these Sikhs, find them and get them out of Afghanistan while we had Canadians on the ground that needed to get out of Afghanistan. Now, that's not the problem. Okay, now I get it. Everybody wanted out of Afghanistan. The problem is he took money. He took money, and they got the paper trail. Okay, they donated, the Sikh community donated to have these Sikhs that are not even Canadian airlifted out of Afghanistan. Now, they didn't get airlifted out because they couldn't find them. When the shit hit the fan and things started to rumble there in Kabul, what happened is they couldn't be found. They made it across the border themselves, but they charged money. That's human trafficking. It's exactly what it is. Human trafficking at its finest, and he's a liberal minister at the time. Under who? Justin Trudeau. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I could go on for hours about it. It makes me sick, very sick to my stomach, when there was Canadians and Canadian allies that needed out that are still in Afghanistan. Even if they're still alive, who knows? Wasted our resources on people that are not even Canadian citizens. And what do you know? He's Sikh too. Now here's another scandal for you. This one's just coming out now. Mark Miller, childhood friends of who? Justin Trudeau, who's also a minister in his cabinet. Talk about who you know to get the job. They opened up a safe injection site 180 yards from an elementary school in Montreal. So the people in that riding are up and going crazy. They don't want it. It's shoved down their throat. And it's only 180 yards from an elementary school. So not only are they allowed to safely inject their drug of choice, there's an inhalation spot so they could smoke whatever they're smoking. We know what they're smoking. You know what they're smoking. I can't say it on here or I'll get banned. But what I find is funny is me. Look at the trees behind me. Those are pretty, eh? Me as an activist for cannabis, and I have been my whole life. And if you don't know my background, yeah, I've spent a few years in various luxurious prisons throughout our country here in Canada over cannabis and fighting for those rights. Well, in 2015, I opened up a vape lounge, which is a beautiful place called Vapulated, and it was on Chatham Street East in Windsor, Ontario, 300 yards from the police station and the Caesars Casino. Nothing to hide, transparent. Didn't have any curtains on the windows. You had to be 19 to get in. I had special guests, the likes of Willie Nelson's group, the Killers, Dancing with the Stars. Every hockey player in the damn world came through there when the Worlds were going on in Detroit. We had the Russians, the Americans, the Finns, the Swedes, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay, I was shut down because of the Smoke Free Ontario Act in the federal government's fresh air or whatever you want to call it for cannabis, and it was a legal business, and they came in, and that's how they used that's the legislation they used to shut us down. Now, where I'm going with the story is we were medical users, a lot of us, and I couldn't ask you for your medical license anyways because I'm not a doctor or a practitioner, so it's illegal. So people came in the doors, and it was a safe place for people to come in the doors and smoke their cannabis. Okay, and it was legal, like I said, 100% tax paying, and they came in and shut it down. But now, even with even with the safe injection site, which is only 180 yards from an elementary school in Montreal, okay, even with the new legislation with the pot stores that they have here in Canada, you're not allowed to open up that close to any school. Don't matter if it's high school, grade school, college. Okay, they're not going to let you open up that close. Yeah, cool. So, but now you're allowed to inject and smoke whatever it is. Well, we know what they're doing, and it's not cannabis. Okay, legally makes no sense to me, none whatsoever. It's a disgrace. ARV Canada, Casey Jones, Ferg's in the house. So with the big scandals this week, and that's a major one. That's two scandals this week. If I was to write down all the scandals, I might be there for an hour since 2015 or 2016 when the Twit was elected. Okay, it's a long list, and a lot of people are forgetting them. But they're under the magnifying glass now, the Liberal Party of Canada, and they're being propped by the NDP, which we all knew. We all knew this for a long time, and now they're getting called out. The NDP, you know, there's a lot of career politicians out there that have spent their life in politics that are going to be without a job very soon. They'll get their pension. Anybody there longer than 6 years, I think it is 2 terms. So if you're in a by-election and then an election, you got 6 years, you get a pension. But they spent their life in politics, and for me, when it comes to politics, and when politicians say, you know, they're working for the people, they're not working for the people, especially not this government. When Shoppers Drug Mart closes down at midnight now, they used to be 24 hours a day because of the thieving and all the riffraff that come in. There's a problem. We got a government that's not hard on crime at all, at all. So vote for the next government that's coming in. I'm not telling you that they're the change. There's a lot of debt. We're so far in debt right now in Canada, and the only way they're going to get out of it is by cutting and slashing and this and that, right? Uh, Programs, social programs. I worked today. I went into work at 5 in the morning, and I worked till 2 in the afternoon today. And I worked yesterday. I worked 7 days a week. I worked the long weekend because that's where it's coming to in Canada. In order for me to survive and to put the roof over my head and my kids' heads and the food on the table, I make a pretty penny, but I can't save it. I can't save $50 a week, believe it or not. It's sickening. And just normal, right? So these politicians out there that go from a nice modest wage of, let's say, $180,000 to $250,000 a year, depending on their cabinet ministers and their portfolio. Every seat that they sit on is more money. That's how it works, by the way. When they go into politics, and you find out in the end that they're at the end of their career after 9 years that they have $300 million in the bank somewhere. How is that possible? Needs a big overhaul. So I got the sun. Can you see those nice little trees in the back? That's how we roll, literally. So with the ex-minister of defense, in the middle of I'm calling it human trafficking, because anybody that takes money from anybody to smuggle them into a country is called human trafficking. And he's caught in the middle of it, and don't expect much from it. Believe me. Is he going to get fired? No, 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 no. Trudeau will protect him. And I can't believe all the scandals. Now, the scary part about all these scandals is what happens when the next government comes in. They could say and think to themselves, if they got away with it, the Liberals, what can we get away with? And that's a scary thing. You know, I hope for Donald Trump. Really, I do. Because if shit hits the fan over here, he'll stay out of it. That's a Canadian business. That's our business as Canadians. And you can't stand Trudeau. So when you got tyrant governments like the one we have now, that's neo-fascist, socialist, expialidocious, sickening, 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 and nothing's being done about it. Nobody's standing up for our rights. You got, I call them loudmouths, because that's what they are, loudmouths in the House of Commons in the back, beacon off. You know, but in February, they all took their raises. In January, they all stood up and clapped, all 330 of them, for a Nazi, Hunka, a living Nazi in Canada, and they gave him a standing ovation. Probably gave him a medal and a big check on the way out the door, because that's the way the government is, right? So I got no respect for any of them, really. In France right now, you're seeing the far right, and I like what they have in store over there. And today's the election. We'll find out the results later on from that. And you got that Labour Party in England. I don't know what to make of that one in the UK. I don't know much about the Labour Party, but I do know much about the far right, and they're all about protectionism of the people of France, not anybody else. You know, we're giving the money away to Ukraine. You know what happens? Trudeau is gone. Trump's in. Poilievre's in. There's no more money going. How do we get our money back from Ukraine? Oh, I know what's going to happen. The Americans are going to annex Ukraine between them and Russia, and they're going to take, one's going to take the north, which would be Russia, and one's going to take the south, which will be the Americans. And they're going to scrape the land for everything, for gold, diamonds, uranium, lithium, cobalt, copper, you name it, water, trees, all their natural resources, because you're not going to stiff the United States of America, and you're not going to stiff Donald Trump. They want their money and they want it back. So if there's a peace deal being made between Russia and the Ukraine, which I highly doubt is going to happen, but America wants their cash back. What's Canada going to do? Send over the Salvation Army? So you see those trees in the back? Oh yeah, that's all natural, baby. Natural. So that's my rant for this weekend. Two major scandals, man. Oh, and there's also the third one I missed last week too. Like I said, there's so many of them, it's tough to keep a track of. In that one, I really know a lot about this one, because we've been crying about it now for about 7 years, and that's conflict of interest in the cannabis industry by politicians and friends of politicians that came in and bought up all the stocks to these companies, and what we call pump and dump, which is highly illegal. That's what they did to these cannabis companies, and they're caught in the middle of it. Liberals and conservatives, even Bill Blair, the big chief of the OPP, or the Toronto Police Department, spent years throwing people in cages for cannabis. Once they legalized it and got the legislation on how they're going to work it, he capitalized off it. That's dirty. That's what that is. So that's going to be it for my rant today. Like, share it. It's hot out here, man. I don't even know if I can't even read the chat. But thanks for watching, guys. Canada RV I can't read your shit. Thanks, guys.